Get ready to be inspired by a young lady who invented something thoughtful and useful, assisting people with visual impairment.
Hi everybody, my name is Blake Lindsay, Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind, and I want to welcome you to the Good News You Can Use podcast. We have a weekly podcast and a monthly newsletter. If you haven't signed up for that yet, you're going to want to do that. And we're going to have some fun today. Every now and then we get to meet a really good friend at the Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind, somebody that we don't even expect to meet. Just comes along, and we're so excited to meet Gouzia Sivarajah. Now, Gouzia was here last year, and Gouzia, a lot of people are just meeting you for the very first time in this podcast. And we know you don't have a big ego, but go ahead and talk about yourself a little bit.
Well, my name is Gouzia Sivarajah, and I'm a 14-year-old. I'm a freshman at Heritage High School, and I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Sino, Safety Integrated Innovation, and it is a company dedicated towards using technological devices to help blind and visually impaired individuals travel safely and efficiently.
Wow. Now you came up with something last year called Movement Aid for the Visually Impaired. You call it the MAVI. M-A-V-I. You got a great acrostic there. I like that a lot. And I'm going to introduce your brother Chris. You brought Chris with you. Now he just graduated from Heritage High School a little bit early. And so you and Chris are going to explain what the MAVI is and what it does.
So the MAVI is a device that helps, like my sister said, visually impaired and blind people travel safely. And basically how it works is that it has three components, the side pieces, and then there's the centerpiece. And what happens is as a blind or visually impaired person is walking, they can sense their surroundings because of the ultrasonic sensors that are integrated within the three components.
Wow.
And so what that does is as they're walking, they'll be able to feel vibrations in their arm from wherever the three pieces are located, and this will help them know what's around them, where they're going, and simply just have a better understanding of their surroundings in general.
Wow, I like that a lot. Now Gouzia, tell us what inspired you. I'd love to hear your story. What inspired you to come up with this concept?
Well, a couple summers ago, I was at the park when I saw a blind individual for the first time. And at first, I didn't realize that he was blind until I saw him walk away with his cane. And later on during the day, I saw him again, except this time he accidentally got caught in a bush. And I couldn't stop thinking about this, so when I got home, I did some research, and I found out about the daily struggles of a blind individual. So when the science fair came along, my 8th grade year, I decided to create a device that can help blind and visually impaired individuals travel safely. And that's how the MAVI was born.
Wow. Well, I'm going to have both of you answer this question. What do you think are some of the appeals that are going to attract people who are blind and visually impaired to your new product?
So I'd say that one of the biggest appeal is just the integration of technology within this concept. So basically now with the technological age advancing, people can use that same technology to get a better understanding of their surroundings. And we wanted to get it to a point where this device could help supplement for the cane and eventually give blind and visually impaired people the visual prowess they would need to understand their surroundings. And I think that that's something that the cane at this stage in time could not do. Although it helps the visually impaired people travel, it doesn't give them the same understanding of their surroundings as MAVI could.
And another appeal of the MAVI is, from my earlier visits, I know that blind and visually impaired individuals, they value their independence. And with MAVI, it's a safer approach at traveling. And with it, they don't have to rely on the cane, making them more independent than they were earlier.
Aha. Now tell me something, Gouzia, you were here last summer quite a bit, and kind of getting to know our routines on a daily basis, what people who are blind and visually impaired like to do. Did you learn anything in particular last summer that you didn't know about people who are blind and visually impaired? You hit the nail on the head with independence.
Yes, as I said earlier, I found out that independence is a key factor.
Yeah.
And I also found out that blind and visually impaired individuals, they can do the same thing that people with sight can. There's not much difference between them. So with this in mind, I created the MAVI so that it can help them do more in life.
Is there anything else that you want to add about yourself or your company or the MAVI?
Yes, so my company, Sino, our first product is the MAVI. and we are planning on donating 1% of our profits to the National Federation of the Blind so that we can support the blind community even more.
Well, good for you. Well, I love talking to you guys. Thank you so much for coming in. What we're going to do next is bring in my friend Al. I'm going to introduce you to him in a moment, and he's going to demonstrate the MAVI. And you've got some questions for him, Gouzia, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good to have you back. Al Rodriguez works at our business services at Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind, and he's had the opportunity to use the MAVI before. Al, what did you think of it? You've used it two times already.
Well, the MAVI is a great device that would eventually make other visually impaired people more independent as far as either using a cane or using a device. And it's a fantastic device as far as moving around, because you don't have a actual cane to deal with. It's more like a virtual cane, and it's a pretty neat device.
I noticed one improvement about it that I really liked is it kind of protects your head now. Gosha's got it figured out where it's aiming up, so if you're walking over, underneath something that's going to hit you in the head, you're probably going to be able to tell. Is that right, Gouzia?
Yeah, it has a vibration motor, so it'll start vibrating if there's something that you're about to hit.
That's one thing that we lack on that.
Don't like hitting our heads, that's for
No,
sure.
we don't.
Well, Al, is there anything else you want to say about the MAVI?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to start using it more and more, and hopefully transition into using the MAVI versus the cane.
So, Gouzia, how do they find your website?
My website is www.sino.com, and so we can purchase the MAVI off of that website.
Okay,
Or
spell
we
Sino.
can- SIINNO.
SIINNO.com.
Yeah. And then you can also buy it by contacting me.
Okay, and so again, this is called Movement Aid for the Visually Impaired, and that's great, MAVI. And so, Gouzia, thank you so much for coming out. Al, I'm glad that you've had a chance to use it a couple of times, and we are excited about what you're going to do with this thing, and it's already been improved a great deal since last summer. So you're really on top of your game.
Yeah.
Now, let me add something real quick on this. To the other blind users, I would encourage you to give it a shot. I mean, it's something that if you don't like using a cane, you might like using the MAVI instead. So it's something for everybody to try something different.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Sal.
You're welcome.
Everybody share the podcast with your friends and family. We're excited about it. DallasLighthouse.org. You can find out what we're doing all the time. We have a monthly newsletter. If you want to sign up for that, let me know. My name is Blake Lindsay, and my contacts are there as well. We hope you have a great week, and we look forward to bringing you something again next week. Thank you, Gouzia. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Krish.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have more updates on Gouzia's developments in future DLB Good News You Can Use podcasts.